So before we started this trip, I thought I had a pretty good idea of what the Everglades was. You know, typical water, grass, alligators, of course. That just that stereotypical Everglades image that you have in your brain. And that's really all I had expecting going into this. After taking the time to head there and going to, Shark Valley and even the Gulf side, I realized that as we were traveling down the main road of the main park, all the way to Flamingo, that the Everglades is not just one place. So let's go take a look. So this section of the park is the Royal Palm area, probably one of the places that are essential to show up, especially if you're only going to have just a short um, opportunity to be in the park. It's maybe 20 minutes from the main gate. But as you can see, Anhinga Trail, that is what I would consider the, epitome of what you think of when you think Everglades, with all the gators and the lily pads and the water and the grass, and but also with Gumbo Limbo Trail right there, just a little bit inland, and there's already a stark difference in the two landscapes. So just in that short time period, you can see there's already two different essential ecosystems right there at the Everglades. So let's go see what else it has. So as you can see with Pinelands Trail and Pa-hay-okee, hope I said that right. It's again continually to change. Pinelands Trail, um, real quick loop trail that you go around. Great spot to take some pictures. The interesting part about it was actually struck by lightning and caught on fire several years ago and is starting to regrow, which is just all a part of the nature cycle, right? Um, and then Pa-hay-okee, that was a really cool one. You kind of saw us sitting there, pointing at the map and pointing out across that gigantic grassland that you saw there, 25, right at 25 miles away, um, was the Shark Valley Observation Tower. So just the day prior, we were looking from the other side across that massive swath of grass that we're planning on going back and exploring maybe in some canoes. But let's go ahead and continue on down the main road and head on into Flamingo. So here we had the Mahogany Hammock, which was a pretty awesome place to kind of explore and circle around. These giant trees growing up in the middle of this swampy, grassy area, just enough dirt to really give them some roots and let them grow. Lots of animals will, make their home and shelter there, providing an awesome ecosystem for some larger mammals. They told us at the Shark Valley tour that we did that they would occasionally see large deer, and there's one reporting of a bear, but nothing there in the Mahogany Hammock. The only thing scary that actually came from this trip was after we left Mahogany Hammock. We had been traveling around now for about 3, 4 days in South Florida, back and forth from one coast to the other. Went out to Biscayne, and we had a rental car that got amazing gas mileage. I did not think about filling up before coming into the Everglades National Park. So right about here where we cut off the video, a nice low fuel light popped up. So admittedly a little panic ensued. Started scrambling. Service was not great. We pulled over, tried to get as much service as we could, but because we knew that the last gas stop before coming into the Everglades was quite a ways away. We had been traveling down this main road for quite a long while. We had about 30-ish, 40-ish miles in the tank. And we were frantically pulling up the GPS, hoping that Flamingo had fuel. But there was no evidence of services. The one thing I did notice is that there is a marina there. So I figured marina has to have fuel, right? So we pushed on. We dared to do the adventure, and we headed on into Flamingo. The real lesson of poor planning here was that fuel cost me right at $7 per gallon when the going rate at the time was right about 3. So yeah, definitely make sure you fill up before going into the Everglades. But we made it. That's what matters. We learned a lesson. And now let's go take a look at the Guy Bradley Trail, our last trail that we did in the Everglades. So that was the Guy Bradley Trail. Pretty basic walk path, paved trail that kind of goes past the Guy Bradley Visitor Center, right in the heart of Flamingo. There's a little. It's a really small town. Like I said, there was a marina there. There's actually a place to grab a bite to eat, and I believe you can actually rent out the apartments or cabins or whatever those were all night. But the big thing that comes to mind doing this project, the 50 Delta project, has been I get to go back and reflect and look at things from a different lens and really preserve these memories for my son and ourselves and for the future. And you get to kind of look at things like if we had followed that coastline all the way along, if it was possible for us to do so, we would have actually started right back where we would have ended up right back where we started, right at the Gulf side, all the way back to Everglades City. So it's just kind of cool. Kind of things do truly come full circle, and this is one of those places where we will definitely be back. We only did a handful of trails, and the more we dug into it, we were like, oh, the real experience is if we could get a canoe and go down the canoe trails and go out to the ponds and be out there in the wildlife. That's on the horizon. That's something we need to do, and that's something we plan on doing. So overall, the Everglades, not what I expected by any means, in a good way. I thought, let's just get on an airboat and go ride around, have some fun. Let's drive around and look at some gators. And it became an adventure where we learned so much, and it just reinvigorated the passion for me to want to go see all of our national parks and spend that time with my son and let him enjoy his adventures while I continue to change. Kind of the whole point of this project. So with that being said, if you've made it this far and you've liked what you've seen, go ahead and make sure that you like and subscribe, and we'll see what comes next.
The road keeps calling, I keep changing. That's the Delta. Let's see what comes next.